It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello.
I love the
morning. Hi. Yeah, BC got me. Yeah, BC got this for me. Thanks, BC. Well, it was a birthday gift. How are you doing, Tokwe? How are you doing? How's your weekend?
Weekend was... I had a mix of very busy and then very restful. So on Saturday, it was very busy. And yesterday, I was like virtually on my bed almost all through the day because I knew I'd overworked myself on Saturday. So I went to Jasper Estate, apparently around... I drove to Lekki Free Trade Zone, Lagos Free Trade Zone, Dangote Refinery area.
Yesterday?
No, on Saturday.
Okay.
And I realized the level of development that is going on in that side is huge. Then when you're driving past, you'll be seeing estate. People that have already bought the entire land, property developers have bought the place, expecting that there will be a move towards that area, and they're all selling out. But it's really interesting to see that Lagos State is actively trying to develop another area. And before, let me speak on behalf of Nima and my mom and people that live in Amuwodofi area, that place they are projecting a lot of funds going into that place, that they'll make money from there. But there's some areas that are already making a lot of money that is expecting such development, like Trade Fair Zone and Apapa and Badagry.
But I'm happy the governor was there this weekend. We'll talk about it in the papers. So hopefully they will be able to resolve some issues.
But those that are worried about Ibejuleki should comfortably buy that area because it's really, really developing, and I'm excited about it.
I think.
Are you the ambassador?
Don't mind her.
But I was in doubt when I went there. I was like, Ibejuleki, that kona, kilo shelembe. But like, at least
how
now
you doing,
I'm
Nima?
I'm fine. I've lost my voice from naming, so Yolo finally has her own grandchild. And we did the naming on Saturday.
Congratulations.
She was named Deborah Zainab. We shall squeeze all the religion inside. And my son was super excited. I didn't expect him. He really wants a baby. And whenever he said, let me hold baby, well, we thought he would be jealous, but he is not. So we thank God we had that. And, you know, the work of Yawole and all those kind of things. I just lost my voice.
Busy weekend, Bele.
It was. And I thought I would rest on Sunday, but I had to do some small stint on Lagoon Radio and then came back home.
That's good.
I had my road there.
Yeah.
Did a miracle.
Yeah.
So from Coca, in fact, the traffic was from Alafia. From Orile, you see it, they block it and it's crazy.
Because of the tankers, right?
No, bad roads.
The bad roads.
That road is just 10 years old.
I'm not teasing. There's a whole lot of work going on there, and I'm wondering, there's another community that is generating loads of money for Lagos.
Yeah, but it's not.
Is
it government that is doing that work? Is this private sector that is building?
No,
there's government investment there too.
Badagry Expressway is majorly for leading to the ports, the tank farms, the markets, everything. And you know, a large amount of Lagos State revenue comes from that place. I think they should focus and pay attention. They have, but they should make sure that, you know, the kind of work they will do there is concrete work that will not, you know, deplete.
We don't want to douse it. We want to see it like.
Which is why I'm interested in what Nupeng wants to see.
Okay.
The ones that are cooperative.
How was your own weekend, Mariah?
Yeah, I've started reading now. Now that school is behind me, it's like such a good feeling.
How many months break do you have?
It's October. But yeah, I'm reading now. I'm reading some good books. I like.
Which one? Tell us the title now.
There's this one that we probably many people have already read it. Prosperity Paradox. It was he gave me that book like 2 years ago. It's been there, but I've been eyeing it for so long, and honestly, I'm enjoying that book. I love that book, so I'm going to sit down and finish it up. I like books that talk about society development, books about governmental interventions. I like personal stories. I like autobiographies. I'm not the motivational kind of books kind of person. I don't like.
You have time to read.
Now I have time to read.
How do you squeeze a book in?
No, like, let me tell you. So you're very right. It's hard. But I usually give up. So the best time for me to read, like 11:30 when everybody's quiet. The whole house is quiet.
And
I'll sit down.
Quiet.
I start reading.
Snoring.
No, I read till like 2 a.m. Then you wake up again. Then sometimes when my husband goes out, maybe over the weekend, you went out over the weekend, I use that 2 hours. Quick. Because once it enters, there's no way you can read again.
No, you know? The children for me.
The kids.
The money book, I'm still on chapter 1. The money book, I tried. I'm still on chapter 1.
You squeeze that time. Okay, let's go on a break. When we come back, we're going to start with the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with The Nation this morning. EFCC, presidency widens salami panel's mandate. Picture here of worshippers at RCCG, Ibutimeta, low turnout as churches reopen in Lagos. Fund borrow the change to stabilize Naira, Sanusi tells CBN. IMC, 11.5 billion Naira smuggled into NDDC's budget. JAM to shift 2020-2021 admissions date, and Nigeria to save $1.5 billion on milk importation. Oh, I would have loved to read that. Okay, let's talk about this salami panels.
This former justice of the appeal courts panel that has been probing the activities of Mago from 2015 to 2020 as the head of the EFCC has had his powers expanded to a judiciary panel. He's been brought into under the Tribunal Inquiry Act, and so they have judicial powers now, and they're supposed to submit their report in 45 days, probe as and also audit the EFCC's activities within that period. And you know, a lot of issues that they outlined that they're supposed to look into, but
no longer a white paper
it worries me that, you know, this has to be done per head of EFCC. I wish that, you know, they had a proper structure where every year internally somebody has the audit, somebody has this and that. There are proper checks on the activities of the executive or whoever leads.
It's not very clear when the 45 days start. Is it when they started in July 5th or is it now?
It's not clear.
We're not sure, so we'll see what happens. But churches have reopened. Did you go to church? I didn't go to church. My own parish. My parish did not open. I mean, I guess we're trying to prepare. But my church opened in a few places. So COD was open. The main Ibutemesa was open. A few other parishes were open. And I think I don't think there's been any complaints so far. No. I think it's been good so far. Even the mosques were open on Friday.
My church didn't open, but I noticed that a lot of churches online actually really separated the seats and sort of tried to observe social distancing even within the auditorium. And as long as we comply with that, we shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Edo PDP APC bicker over do or die antics. Northern governors beg federal government to equip military. Apapa gridlock, Lagos State government donates land for trailer park. Panic buying as petrol tanker drivers begin strike today. COVID-19, 22 million small businesses gasping for breath. Malami writes Buhari says he's not corrupt, lists sources of income. Tinubu Fayose others attack Obasanjo over statement on Kashamu's death. And Buhari names 7-man panel to probe fraud allegations against Mago. Lots of stories here, but I'd like to start with the Tinubu Fayose. Our former president's condolence message was quite savage. A lot of people felt that way. It was a bit low belt. Tinubu's statement was, the former governor of Lagos State was saying that be kind to the dead. He didn't specifically say he was talking to Obasanjo, but he was just saying generally that we should be kind to the dead, that he has achieved, and he was a man of the people, he was a philanthropist, and people loved him in his community. But my own people, my Ekiti people, they don't miss words. He went straight and said, how can you say categorically that you did not collaborate with him when he was alive, and that you're also not a saint? So Fayose went for him, for his jugular straight up. But listen, either way, when somebody dies, he dies.
Fight you to death.
I mean, come on,
and
man.
I wonder, you know, that
quite
dying is for some and not for others.
It was
all of us will
go. Borrowing the phrase from our Payne Hammond. Very distasteful.
The Lagos State, so Lagos State has donated 30 hectares piece of land in Ijora for, you know, to help us ease off these trailers on our roads into a park. And the governor stressed that the MPA and other agencies that, you know, regulate these activities of truck drivers should ensure that, you know, they actually leave the road. So the one that concerns me is the one at Mile 2. Yes, that one at Mile 2, I don't think is properly located. Already, we have traffic issues there, and I wonder how they would, you know, regulate the activities such that there will be ease getting into it. It's a large piece of land. I've looked at it well. But I wonder how.
That's the one in Ijora?
No, there's one at Mile 2.
Okay.
The 30 hectares is at Ijora. He also highlighted other areas where there are parks for them to use, and terminals, Lily Pond and Co. that, you know, should ease their activities. Okay,
moving on to the Punch. Edo Assembly crisis, factions exchange words over planned sitting in short complex. Lagos churches reopen, comply with COVID-19 guidelines. Osun fashion designer attacked by bribe-seeking policeman dies. Ogun pastor impregnates 2 siblings during spiritual cleansing. ZLP clears Ondo deputy governor as candidate for October poll. Yahoo boys are our youth's role models, says Diazani. Tanker drivers' strike begins as talks with Lagos fail. Stamp duty account. You lied, NIPOST tells FIRS. CBN to unify exchange rates, pegs Naira at 3.79 to the dollar. And finally, NDDC writes IG, demands prosecution of failed contractors. Which stories are we taking?
All the stories.
Human interest. Let's start with human interest. Quickly, very briefly. So this Oshun, the 20-year-old fashion designer from Oshun, who was returning from the Eid festival and was attacked by a police officer with his gun. He hit him on the head with the butt of his gun. He has died 5 days after. But the good news is that immediately the commissioner of police set up their panel that they use, tried him, dismissed him, and he will be, this morning will be arraigned in the court for murder of that young man. That's how the procedure, the order should be. And so we hope that at the end of the day, we get justice for the family of this young man.
So I have about 3 stories, and they are really, really important. So first, human interest. And I'm just taking this because sometimes we get so blinded by men of God that we don't open our eyes to what is going on ground. So a woman having health challenges went to a church. The owner of the church, this church is in Abeokuta, the Church of the Lord, Olumore Abeokuta, the prophet Ebenezer Ajigbotoluwa. This particular man told her family of 6 to move into the church so that the sickness that is worrying the mother doesn't spread to them, and cost them over 2 million naira over that period, and still within that period raped her 2 daughters between 16 and 13, helped them to procure abortion within that same period. The good thing is that he's confessed to the crimes. He's been within the custody of the police in Ogun State, and we're expecting that he will be prosecuted. But we must pay attention to what is going on. Then I wanted to talk about the FIRS story, the FIRS and NIPOST. So the NIPOST boss has said that FIRS lied. We've been following that story since, and she said that the only account FIRS has, NIPOST has to access money from stamp duty was registered by CBN with the what's the unified TSA in the TSA account, that what FIRS boss said was false, and that they don't have any private account, and none of the funds of NIPOST is in any NIPOST officials account. So
we need to move on. Daily Sun. Buhari gives panel 45 days to decide Magu's fate. Low turnout as churches reopen in Lagos. INC to Mayeti Allah. Keep off Igbo forests. Kashamu laid to rest amidst tears in Ijebu-Igbo. Anambra Anglican bishop raises the alarm, says assassins after him. Oh, I wanted to read that story. But the senator who was laid to rest over the weekend, of course, attracted quite a number of sympathizers, and it was quite crowded. I mean, I don't know. I was really, really worried about that. But it's just that we make laws, but people just don't. They totally defy all laws. And
it's in Ijebu-Igbo, and this is his local area. Like when my father passed, one of the reasons I refused the body to leave the hospital and get home first for the fidal prayer was because of this kind of thing.
People will gather.
The family could not, you won't be able, it will be out of your hands. I didn't take, and I also did not vote for my family members to take my father home, because again, there will be proper, serious crowding. So straight from the hospital to the burial place, and it was organized well.
Moving on to Daily Trust. Lawan Shekarau, 8 other senators sponsored no bill in 1 year. It's shameful, says CSO. I'm working on one, says former Kano governor. I would have loved to read that. Yes. Businesses thrive after 4 months of COVID-19 report. Let's take that story, please. JSS students also resume in Lagos today. So that's exciting news.
The Daily Trust did an article on about 10 senators that have not had any bill sponsored since this house was inaugurated, and amongst them is the Senate President, who refused to tell why. But the Kanu representative Shekara was able to say that I'm working on an amendment of the Pension Act, and I'm doing. Other people had reasons. 2 of the senators are late. Bayoshino is one of them. And those ones had no bill. Ignatius, that long from Jos, and Bayoshino, late Bayoshino.
Late Bayoshino was fairly new.
It was fairly new. It was his first time.
You talk to the regular people in the assembly, they'll say their job goes beyond making new laws or presenting a bill.
But if this house has already seen to 450 bills, where your own
are really working.
Yes, some people are working more than others.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take. We're out of time. That's all we can take on the show. Let's go on a break. When we return, it's Monday. Edo State is seriously trending. In fact, thank God you are married to Edo, you are from Edo. Let us talk to these people. I don't understand what's going on. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we do Edo State, we'll start with Lagos State. Last week, the Lagos State government revoked the 2018 land use charge. This was announced by the Commissioner for Finance, Dr. Rabiu Olowo. Also, the government reverted to the pre-2018 land use charges, and the charges for 2017, 2018, and 2019 have been waived. According to him, the review is to reduce the financial pressure on Lagosians relating to land use. We have with us the Commissioner for Finance, Dr. Rabiu Olowo. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for having me this morning on your program. Good morning.
Yes. Now, so the key word there is revoked, because quite a lot of Lagosians have been worried that revoked meaning cancelled, or do you mean suspension, that it will be, that at some point it will be returned? Could you please clarify so we are clear on what the state's position is on this land use charge?
So thank you very much. The actual wording is that the 2018 land use charge law has been repealed.
Okay.
So what that means is that there's been a review of the law, there's been some updates to the law, and a new law has passed through all the legal framework. The Lagos State Executive Council, the Lagos State House of Assembly, and a bill for the adjustment or for the update has been passed and has been assented to. And there is a new law which is effective, and that will be the new order of the day. So it's not temporary, it's something that has come to stay.
Okay, so sir, I wanted to ask you, obviously there must be reasons for this action, and people are wondering what government should be a continuum. What could have caused the current administration to review what was in place before?
Absolutely. So government is a continuum. You see, we consider the land use charge reform very necessary, at this time to accommodate the agitations of Lagosians and to further reduce the financial pressure on citizens as it relates to land use charge. If you recall, in 2018, there were a lot of agitation, there were a lot of public outcry from citizens alike, owner-occupiers, of residential property, industrialists, owners of commercial properties, etc., towards the 2018 law when it was enacted. That 2018 law was very controversial because, a few things were done that led to a sporadic increase in what was payable by property owners to over like 400%. It was a big deal at that time, and there were a lot of agitation, there were a lot of pushback, even from the organized private sector. So when we came in, I think one of the earliest assignments that I had as Commissioner for Finance, the governor, told me that you need to go and look at this law. And, even myself, anytime I get the chance to meet with the organized private sector, one of the most common questions I get is, when are you going to review this? So as a listening government, that was what made us to actually give it a focus to go and look at this law. And truly so, there were a lot of improvement opportunities, and that's exactly what we have done. So what we have done isn't just a rate reduction, even though the rate reduction, the rate reduction is the most appealing or the most exciting because that's to do with money, but it's just much more than that. So if you give me a chance, I can, actually give you some more insight into the key takeaways from the law review.
Okay, would appreciate that. One of the major reasons I believe for the 2018 amendment of the Land Use Act was because, to get more revenue from, properties residents in Lagos, and that alone, in repealing this act, is something that I consider a big loss because, we are waiving those revenue and the number of years that, it has piled up. Why is that? Why are you looking at, leaving that much amount of money that would help the state?
So that's a very good question. So when it comes to fiscal policies or developmental economics, the truth is that it's not about money, it's not about revenue, it's about the people. You know, these are dots that are connected. At the end of the day, it's about the people. It's not about revenue, it's not about money. And that's why, as a people-centric government, you need to really understand what's the purpose of government in the first place. And that's why we are doing this at this time. We believe that if we are able to expand the net, if we're able to capture more properties, if you're able to set taxes or rates at the right pricing, at the right rates, the people will be happy for it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, there will be, a lot of, development.
Right.
In the land. Yeah.
All right. Some people say, some of your critics have said that this is a Greek gift because yes, you win some, you lose some. So in their own view, they're saying you've given us this gift, but there's a strong possibility that Lagos State will be sending us some kind of charge in future, saying we should pay some other charges. Should we be expecting other taxes that the Lagos State government will be imposing on the people?
The land use charge consolidates all properties and land-based rates and charges into a single property tax. It has consolidated the land rate, which you call the ground rent, the tenement rate, and the neighborhood improvement charge. So there will be no other taxes within this category that will be imposed, because this is a consolidation of all land-based and property-based rates or charges or taxes into a single property charge.
Right. Okay, so you've reiterated about this government being a very listening government and people-oriented. But how about the impact of the policies on foreign investment that we're expecting, in that it looks as if we're an unstable government, we cannot hold a policy for a long time. People complained in 2018 when the policy was changed. They gave reasons for why they did it, and now it is changed again. What would assure Nigerians that in the next 3 years, another government will come in and say, I am people-oriented, I'm listening to the people, I'm changing it again? How would the foreign investors that were expecting to come and invest in Nigeria take such seemingly inconsistent policies? How would they take it?
So I don't think it's fair to say, to use inconsistency, because just like you said correctly, government is a continuum. If a new government comes in and sees an improvement opportunity, we have to keep improving until we get there. And that's exactly what's happened. So a law was enacted in 2018. There were a lot of agitation. There were a lot of public outcry, from the people whom we swore to serve. I think at that point, there's a real need for government to go back as a listening government, yes, to actually understand the criticality or the issues, the pain points of the people. And that's exactly what we have done. So there's nothing about inconsistency there. It's about continuous improvement. It's about finding the need to do more good things for the people that we sought to serve.
Sir, Moriah had asked that Lagosians are thinking that there'll be backdoor ways of getting this money that is given. They consider a Greek gift. One of such is that the former act had brought under it the waste management bill, such that people did not have to, that's where they would generate money for the visionscape plan that they had at the time. Now that is no longer part of it, how is the bill for waste management going to be? And areas like mine, it still never work. We'll never get waste management there yet.
There's a lot of strategic review within the waste management arm, and that is very separate from the land use or property-based, side of things. There's a lot of strategic review in that area. I think Loma is coming up with even more efficient ways of actually, making disposal of property. Of waste. I think about 2 or 3 months ago, they came up with, disposal materials in terms of how to separate your waste, either organic waste, waste from your kitchen, glasses, and all of that. Those are the new concept that is being done in other geographies or other countries, and those are the beginning, part of the reform in the waste management area. But it is separate from the land use charge, because land use charge is just on land-based and property-based rates and taxes.
Okay, so how much is Lagos State losing, in quotes, on this? How much exactly are you saving the people from expending?
So the word is, how much are we saving the people? We are not losing any money, because just like I said, government or any fiscal policy implementation is about the people. We have come up with a 48% reduction in the annual charge rate. A property that is paying, let's say, 27,000 naira, going forward will begin to pay 14,000 naira. So meaning that there is more money back to the society. And what that does in economics is that your disposable income goes up, your consumption goes up, aggregate demands goes up. And that's how the economy is stimulated. At the end of the day, it's a win-win. The people are happy, the government is happy, because the economy will be working. So it's giving money back to the society to stimulate the economy. I think one more interesting part of this reform is the agricultural sector. So one of the ways of encouraging or incentivizing this sector is that agricultural land, the rate has been reduced by 87%. Why are we doing this? We want more and more people to be encouraged to go into this sector. So for food security, even for development, ensuring that in Lagos we have our own strategy in terms of improving our agricultural produce, and those are the ways that government policy actually stimulates some of these issues.
Okay. I'm also happy that consideration was given to people in their 60s that are retired, and it's a good one. And I also want to highlight that in addition to their Greek policy. But I want to ask, we have a new policy that was passed down from the federal government, that is a stamp duty charge on tenants that they are going to pay for every time they are renewing their rent or renting a new house. How is Lagos, how does that influence this? What's the relationship with that? And do you want to educate us more about it? Does this new law waive that for Lagosians? We'll be happy to have that information. And how do we go about it?
This new law, doesn't waive that for Lagosian. And in fact, it's not a new law. It's just something that, enforcement is much more obvious around. So for any receipt, for any acknowledgement of business dealings or transaction, there has always been a law for the payment of stamp duties. Just that recognition and and enforcement is much more obvious today. So whether it's rent, whether it's any kind of business dealing whereby there is acknowledgement, there is received, payment of stamp duty, payment of stamp duty is applicable. Even though I agree with you, there are a lot of divergent views from what the federal government through the FIRS has come up with in terms of the implementation of stamp duty, but that's a different topic. But our position, like every other state, is to follow what the Constitution has said, and even, of course, the stamp duty law that says that transaction between individuals and individuals is collectible by states, while transaction between B2B, business to business, or corporate to corporate is collectible by the federal institutions such as the FIRS or the federal government or any other federal government.
We have to wrap up, sir. We have to wrap up. So what you're telling us in essence is that if anybody comes to our gate, knocking on our door, asking for us to pay this land use charge, we should tell them the government has repealed it and refused to pay. And if they insist, we can report to you. Is that correct? Can we report?
What is happening now is that there is a 2020 law.
Okay.
There is a new law, 2020 law, that was signed by Mr. Governor, that has reduced the rate by 48%.
Okay.
That's giving pensioner an enlarged scope to
Okay, it's clearer now.
from private organizations.
Right.
right? There's been a reintroduction of 15% early payment discount.
Right.
Mr. Governor has also approved an additional 10% COVID incentive early payment discount. So altogether, there is about 25% early payment discount.
Okay.
So meaning that once you receive your bill, you will see all those penalty waivers, you will see the reduction in rates. And my message to negotiation this morning is to take advantage of these changes, especially the rate reduction and of course the early payment discount. Immediately they get their bills, they should go and pay in order to take full advantage of these changes.
Right.
And also to also inform negotiation, we now have a fit for purpose call center whereby they can call in, make inquiries, ask for help, ask for guidance and direction. And the number is simple.
Okay, we'll send the numbers on our social media pages, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner. We speak with the Commissioner for Finance, Dr. Rabiu Olowo. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, ahead of the September 19th, 2020 Edo election, the governorship election, the state is being entangled in different sort of controversies. Just last week, the political battle was taken to the Edo State House of Assembly, from defection to series of impeachments. Now, we'll be having two guests. We'll have the APC chieftain in Edo State, Honorable Julius Ihonvere, and also a PDP stalwart. He's also the Director of Communications and Strategy of the Godwin Obaseki 2020 campaign. Dr. Obaseki, he'll be joining us soon. But before we have that, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, last week, Thursday, obviously, was an interesting day in Edo State because the speaker was impeached, and the 14-man that were initially elected, they were actually going to be sworn in since last year. They were sworn in addition to 3 other loyalists of the former governor of the state, and they formed a 17-man quorum, and then they impeached Honorable Oki, I believe, who was the speaker, and then they brought in a new speaker. And then because the house also was supposed to be under renovation, the governor then ordered them to go and put sand at the entrance that you cannot sit.
And remove roof.
And remove the roof so you cannot sit. My people, this is your people. What's going on in your state?
Thankfully, there are more of Nima's people than my people. I used to be very, very proud, like, I'm Edo by marriage, but this is really embarrassing, the drama that has been happening between both contestants, the name-calling and mudslinging, the thuggery, the violence. It is uncalled for on every level. Not in 2020, not in this day and age, should we have people of this level displaying such actions. So
childishness.
I'm at the point where I feel very embarrassed for the leadership, the style of leadership I've seen so far. And I feel that the people of the state should not limit themselves to what they see, but should investigate further and make their choice. Yeah. And there's a way we would come out en masse and votes would count. Because what I realize is, I'm talking to my mother-in-law lives there. I have very many relatives by marriage that live in Edo State, and the feeling I'm getting and what they're saying is that they will not even go out to vote. And my plea is, this is exactly what they want. If you do this, everybody is one. So for me, it is that ability for them to step out.
So it's a long-time strategy where politicians, you throw a lot of fear out there.
People are just scared, sit at home. And so only your people will go out,
and then you have an opportunity to do what you want to do. So I think we're seeing the handwriting on the wall, and it seems as if there's quite a bit of unruliness going on there, especially. So let me come to Nima. Nima, what have you heard from home? What are they saying? What is going on there? And I think our guests, we're trying to connect with our two guests. Once we do, we'll get to them. But let me get your thoughts first before I get to the guests.
Okay, so what I saw last week Thursday confirmed what I always believed, that there's no gentleman politician in Edo presently. So the governor used to play the gentleman card and say, I'm not going to go and come out. But obviously, everybody is a thug in this game that they're playing right now. And I'd just like to say, like I've been saying to Edo people, please don't let this grass, don't become the grass under these two elephants. The truth is, the campaign on the other side, even let's look at how the House of Assembly was closed on these lawmakers. From the get-go when he wanted to inaugurate the House, he didn't allow the quorum to be complete. Inaugurate at least 20 members, but he went ahead and inaugurated 9-member House. And he said these people did not come because, you know, already we're looking at the size they belong to.
Many issues.
They had to go to court. Yes, you got judgment, but these people continue to be aggrieved, and now they are insisting on coming to the House to sit. And then that speaker that was elected by the 9-man honorable members they wanted to impeach. Everybody has good, legitimate grounds for why they are aggrieved. And if we had wanted to do peace, which I expected the governor as the first man of the state, he would have found a way for all these grievances to be settled without us getting to this point.
But we know what this is about, Nanima. We're all speaking.
What is this about?
This is all about the elections. This is all about.
Of course it is. This is usually when people wait to show. So now these honorable members went to sleep all this while when it was, you know, when things seemed like they didn't have power. But look at them today.
I really like to bring this back. Let's take it away from the politicians. Action. No. Remove the political thuggery, the back and forth, the two candidates. What do the people want? Are the people speaking? What do they want? A new governor? Is Ashomole the leader that they want? What was the Obaseki, the current governor? Do they want him back? Is it Eze Yamu? That's the name I was looking for. Eze Yamu, is that the governor they want? What are the people saying? That's the real conversation.
The voice of the people is if we have a free and fair election.
And as it is right now,
and
people are saying, the people I know, and a lot of them are
let
not
me second what you're saying.
They're not intending to come out to vote.
Right.
And once that is the case, because they're feeling like we don't have a choice, what are we going to pick between? So I'm wondering, and my question is that, have you experienced good governance in the past 4 years? Can we analyze based on what has been done? Are there accusations legitimately of corruption? Were money stolen from your states? So if was there misappropriation of funds? Can we discuss real, tangible issues as opposed to you did not buy car for us, you did not buy bus for us, those kind of things?
To be from that state, and I have my families, both marriage and mine, living back home. I've had the opportunity. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my neighbors from another village saying, no. Edo people have their minds clear about what is happening in their states. The issue for me is everybody closes it with this fight. I don't want to be caught in between. So people are already discouraged from attempting to vote. The only way we can get, because that's why I listened to INEC yesterday. I really wanted to know what INEC could do about it. And I like the fact that they said they'll come heavily on any party. In fact, they can, under their law, cancel the elections and stop it from happening. And they brought all their, the laws that empowers them to do that. Because now Edo people know what they want. If only we can allow a free and fair election happen and everybody will see clearly what
how are you going to get a free and fair election? I mean, sometimes there's always that issue of distrust when there's a party that, when you feel that somebody has the federal might. There's always that influence that, can I get a free and fair election?
Okay,
there's always that
I'll
issue.
use the Ekiti State example. So Fayose, when he won the elections, he didn't have federal might, or how will I say it? What's his name? Fayemi had. And, we saw the elections the way it happened. Yeah. If Edo people can come out, not the thugs now of the party members,
the real citizens, yes.
The real citizens can come out to vote. We will see clearly where Edo people want, what they want.
Okay, as I said, we have two important guests. I'm not sure what's going on. I hope they're not chickening out last minute. But we're trying to get both of them on the phone. So I'm told now that we have the APC chieftain in Edo State, Honorable Peter Akpatason. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we also have the stalwart of the PDP, who is the Director of Communications and Strategy of the Godwin Obaseki 2020 campaign organization, Dr. Don Obaseki. Don Pedro Obaseki. Thank you very much for coming, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. It's a pity you are always bearing me with Akpatason.
let me start with Honorable Akpatason, because many of us are watching here from all over the country, and we're getting more and more confused. Could you give us an idea exactly what happened on Thursday and why it happened in the first place?
Is that for me?
Yes, Mr. Akpatason. Honorable Akpatason.
Okay, thank you very much. What happened on Thursday was
a clear attempt by deprived members-elect of the House of Assembly to properly represent their people for over a year. They had to defend democracy. They had to redeem democracy from the, totalitarian, suppression by the government of Edo State. A situation where the minority begin to call the shot for the majority, and a situation where a few persons were inaugurated and the majority were kept out. Even among the few that were inaugurated, most of them were conscripted, forced into the bus from the deputy governor's house under intimidation and threat of the use of force by the Nigerian police attached to the deputy governor. And then they were moved into a chamber and forcibly inaugurated. Some of them were dressed in short knickers. Some wore bedroom slippers to tell you that they were not prepared for that. And then that thing was done in the night. The information was not properly passed to the other people. They were not allowed to come in. That was a rape on democracy. It was an attempt to deprive hundreds and thousands of Edo people from being represented. And for about 11 months, they were so deprived. And it got to a point where the people, unlike somebody said, that they have not been sleeping. They have been planning. They have been trying all means to amicably resolve the issues. But every effort, every entity fell on deaf ears. And as a result of that, they decided to take their face in their hand to clearly defend democracy.
Okay.
By going into the chamber, to do proper inauguration of the majority. 17 out of 24 were there. They are in clear a majority, and what they did was right. It was the right thing to do. We cannot continue on that trajectory of aberration. We must reverse the narratives in Edo State, where a state that was known for its telling democratic credentials has turned into a state of brigandage, where the law stands on its head. That was the error that the people went there to correct.
So what's the place of the Federal High Court judgment that backs what the governor did?
What did the Federal High Court judge say, please?
That the house was properly inaugurated.
The Supreme Court has not said so anyway. But in any case, it is a pity that sometime in this country, you will hear High Court in Benin say one thing, High Court in Port Harcourt will say something different. So it is difficult for people people have lost confidence in some of these decisions. And some of them appear like black market decisions. And that cannot be what determines the truth of a case that is so glaring. Well, let us see what the Supreme Court will say about that. But however, Edo people cannot wait. Edo people cannot wait forever, for for justice to be done.
So wait, are you
when
suggesting,
something is clearly
wait, I need to be clear, I understand you. Are you suggesting that we cannot uphold the judgment of the courts because we don't trust the courts? Is that what you're saying?
I have not said you cannot uphold the judgment of a court.
Okay.
If people were supposed to be inaugurated and they were deprived, the court cannot stop the legislative arm of government from functioning. It's an aberration.
Yes.
It is clear to everybody. There's separation of power. As enshrined in the policy of Montesquieu, that there are three equal arms of government.
Right.
Each one operating within the ambits of the law. The laws are clearly there that says that people must be inaugurated. You can't wake up one day and say 9 people are more than the rest of them.
Point taken. Let me get to Mr. Obaseki. Let me get to Don Obaseki. Go ahead, Tokwe.
Okay, sir. I have a question for you in that there's a statement that is assigned or accredited to the current governor of Edo State that nobody has monopoly of violence. And shortly after that statement, we saw what happened at the State Assembly. And so it seems people are now saying what we used to be seen as a gentleman has now joined them. So I want to ask you, you're involved in the campaign. What exactly did the governor say concerning thuggery, attacks and all of that? And what is his defense concerning what happened at the State House of Assembly?
I want to start by, first of all, expressing my very sad disbelief here, a lawyer, Mr. Peter Akpatason, and a lawmaker, say on public television that they are going to they disregarded a subsisting court judgment. That is pitiable. On the other hand, I don't want to answer what you asked me. I would rather answer what you asked him, so that people placed all these things in proper perspective. Then if there is time, I will also answer what you asked me. First and foremost, he gave a very skewed narrative, and that skewed narrative is pitiable. The governor has absolutely no role to play in inaugurating any officer of the legislative arm of government, because like he said, while quoting Baron Montesquieu, there are three equal arms of government. The only thing that is required of the executive head, whether it's the president or the governor, so that we educate our people properly, so that we stop all this political jabberwocky, is that the governor only writes a proclamation. And once that proclamation is written, it is the duty of the clerk of the house to summon those persons who were duly so elected. There is nothing that says, everybody in Nigeria knew that the thing took place in the evening. Everybody in Nigeria knew. That is, unfortunately, the law does not permit your inference when it is not expressly expressed.
Okay.
It took place in a working day. Sorry, let me just, so that we don't, because I heard the three of you speaking earlier, and my heart sank. It sank because you are impugning into a legal situation personal subjective opinionation. Now, as a result of that, the law states in Article 90 to 105 of the Nigerian Constitution, there must be a quorum of no less than 1/3. And 1/3 of 24 on that day was 8, and 9 of them or 10 of them were inaugurated. That is not anything new. A house is proclaimed, not the individuals in it. That is why Saraki, in spite of the lack of 49 APC senators in 2015, still turned out to be the Senate president. And he wasn't removed unless there was a 2/3 majority of all sitting members. That these are clear. These are positions of law. It's not what Pedro wrote. Number two, what happened that day when you said the governor, the governor, the governor? We saw it on your own television. The governor walked in to meet, he was the donors campaigning when that took place. What happened was simple. Everything that was done prior to then was in the courts. And the court on the 17th of September, the Federal High Court, not the Benin Court, not the Benin High Court, declared that the proclamation was legal and the house was properly inaugurated, and told the others who have not gone to be sworn in, because they can only be sworn in by the speaker, not any other person.
Okay.
They have refused, there is no public video. No, madam, please, so that we don't get these things wrong. So that it doesn't seem continuously there is a skewed narrative based on certain persons controlling certain sections of the press. Now, what happened on Thursday was premised on a letter written on Tuesday to the Inspector General of Police by the Attorney General, who has no right under the principles of separation of powers. It is the Attorney General of Edo State that could have interpreted anything like that. Now, don't forget that the clerk, the National Assembly, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and that of the Senate had asked that they were going to forcefully take over the Edo State House of Assembly. And a court judgment stopped them and said, no, this is it. Now, the thing that has happened is this. Those persons that paraded themselves, members elect, and is not anything known to our Constitution. Members elect is a media balance given to describe who have just been elected, waiting to be sworn in.
Right.
There is no member elect in perpetuity or a governor elect in perpetuity. Please wait. Sorry, madam. You gave him 14 minutes. Let me just talk. Now, on this issue, they went to court, and the court said they should go and be sworn in. They never did. They were living in Abuja. Now, the Nigerian Constitution also states clearly that after 180 days of a sitting parliament, if you don't get inaugurated or you show up, your seat automatically, nobody needs to declare it vacant. It automatically will become vacant. And that came on the December 7, 2019. So those seats, by law, are vacant. So when they are vacant, those persons that paraded themselves actually committed treasonable felony. Now, they went to court. Those courts, they have 2 court cases they instituted. Those two court cases they instituted 2 court cases, and those 2 court cases are still sub judice. So what they did, outside of being criminal, is also sub judice. It's sub judice. That is, you are confronting or affronting a persisting court process. Is actually how will I put it? Is an abuse of processes. That is on its own.
Okay.
Now answer my question now.
A maze. You forge a maze. A forging of maze in Nigeria means you have forcefully taken over government. That is a coup d'etat. And then they had 3 of the city members fit to elect a speaker pro tempore. That is forbidden by law. Because for you to remove a speaker, the city members who were 10 as at that time, or 12 as at that time, must have 2/3 majority to be able to effect that.
Okay.
So all these are positions of law.
All right.
Not the position of what I feel like, or what you feel like,
Okay.
or what Peterson feels like.
Point
they
taken,
want
sir.
to make it impossible for Edo people to go to the polls. And
All right.
God will
Point
make
taken,
sure
sir.
they don't stay.
We've heard you very clearly. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll go back to Honorable Akpatason. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so I know Nima had a question. What?
Yes.
You answer my question, but Nima, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So now
Who is your question to?
to the PDP, to Don Pedro,
Don
Dr.
Obaseki.
Don Pedro Obaseki. Yes, sir. So now there are a lot of issues happening in Edo State presently. The elections are fast approaching, and we see a lot of the campaign from the side of the PDP, the governor's side to the APC's candidate side, and we see a lot of that happening now. How does that change the dynamics of your campaign?
That is not correct. There has been nobody in the PDP that has decamped to the APC. It is the governor that was in the APC up to just 6 weeks ago. I want to correct this on public television.
Okay.
He was in the APC, and all the persons who are coming to declare support for the other side are those who were already in the APC, but refused to join him in the PDP. No existing member of the parliament, federal or state, no senator, no normal persons on the streets have joined the APC from the PDP. The governor made a mass movement of persons to the PDP, and a few of them.
Just to clarify, the appointees of the governor. The appointees of the governor now, members of his campaign team, reported to have joined the other side now.
Yes, those persons who left. Let me give you an example. 3 commissioners left.
They resigned.
The commissioners in the oil resigned and joined Isaiah. The 3 of them, one of them was Mr. John Odige. Mr. John Odige is the younger brother of the wife, of the late wife of Oshomole. He was made a commissioner by Oshomole. The other person, please check the name, was Mr. Riwani Oshomole, the younger brother of Mr. Oshomole. So when those persons now decide they will resign, they were in the APC with Oshomole, appointed by Oshomole for Godwin's government. That is the truth. So when they decided, they did not leave the PDP. They were never in the PDP.
I would like the Honorable Akpatason to respond to this. Dr. Don Pedro, please hang in there for a second. Let me give Honorable Akpatason an opportunity to respond to what
The question of resignation under the administration of the current governor and pledging allegiance to Ezeyam.
Well, the truth of the matter is that, to start with, the Obaseki government made it mandatory for his aides, as well as party executives of APC who were and still on his payroll, to compulsorily follow him to PDP. Some of them were compelled to do so, and under duress, they did so. However, there is, at the moment, mass exodus from both his new PDP and old PDP because of the great Pastor Osage Izeyamu. He is loved by the people. He controls very great, support from both PDP and APC people because they know who he is and what he can do. So the people who are living, they are not just the aides of Obaseki, both his aides as well as party stalwarts. I was at home yesterday in Edo State. I was at home on Thursday. I received over 50 powerful PDP members in Akoko Edo local government alone. Very powerful politicians, grassroots politicians. Pedro Obaseki should please tell us the truth. This election will come and go where all Edo people will still laugh and smile together again. But let us not mislead or misinform our people.
Honorable Akpatason, let me.
Obaseki is not popular. He cannot win election. He knows that.
Okay, Honorable Akpatason, let me say my own worry. My worry is that for the past few minutes now, we've been talking politics. And it's unfortunate that we're not discussing the real issues of the Edo people. When we see elections, even Lagos State, I don't know many other states, but I do know Lagos State. When there's an election, the people are talking about what has he done, what has he not done, what's the new person coming to do, what's the track record of the older person. That's the kind of conversation you're hearing. But in Edo, I open the papers every single day. Nobody's telling me who Pastor Ezeyamo is. Please. Nobody's telling me what Obaseki has done or not done. Nobody's saying this is the political class has somewhat beclouded the perception of their people that all they're seeing is political thuggery. They're not seeing the conversations of real issues. So my question to both of you is, what are your candidates doing? The election is next month.
Yeah.
We don't have a clue what's going on in that state. All we're hearing is political thuggery. So could you please tell us, itemize to us, what each of your people are going to do for the people of Edo State? What have they done or not done? I'll start with Honorable Akpatason.
Am I to answer that?
Let me start with Honorable Akpatason, please.
Thank you very much. I would like to take it from this perspective. I have been in APC from inception, from AC to ACN to APC. And we worked hard for the emergence of Obaseki. We mobilized the people, we ensured voting, we defended votes and all of that. He came into office and for 4 years, he has done virtually nothing. Let us compare Obaseki to Shomoli first before we begin to talk about those who are coming in afresh. In infrastructure development, he has nothing to offer. There are several institutions of learning in Edo State. He shut 4 institutions of learning, including colleges of education and a university. And the people have been protesting. Don't speak, for or against a candidate. For the past 2 weeks, they have been protesting in front of government house. Those are issues. They are not APC people. They are those people who have been deprived. Why should a sitting governor close schools where we have insufficient tertiary institutions of learning in this country? We talk about MOUs all the time, MOUs that never deliver practical results. There are farm projects that are existing in paper, they are not seen on ground. Now, though people are talking about these issues, to be honest, the truth of the matter is that sometimes we respond to your questions. That is why we seem to dwell so much on the issues we are talking about. The truth of the matter is that Obaseki has no, practical, projects on ground to show for whatever. In my local government, for instance, in Akoko Edo, they did about a few roads with C4 money, as well as CSDP funds. There is no one done by him. NDDC did jobs. He claimed that they did those jobs. But in any case, even the quality of those jobs is another issue. The roads are peeling already, all of them. The one in the garage, the one in the Boshi, they have all peeled off. The one who someone did a long time ago, they are still there. People are still using them. The red roads that someone did, they are still there. They are still serving.
Okay, let me go on a quick.
It does not have any. It talks. That is just.
Okay, Honorable Akpatason, I'm sorry I have to go on a quick break. When I come back, I'll let Dr. Don Pedro respond to that. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
So thanks for staying with us. So I'm going to allow Don Pedro to respond, because my question earlier was, what has the governor done or not done? And I think Honorable Akpatason has been able to itemize that he's not done quite a bit. He has not done enough. So let us come to Don Pedro. Tell us exactly what your principal has done or has not done.
I will start with his local government area. It is the most abandoned local government area in the history of Edo State, and maybe the history of Nigeria. And we all know that Godwin has tarred roads in his local government area. But the roads, according to my governor, road tarring is a duty of government, not something. First, I want to debunk what he said at the beginning, that he had hordes of people coming to his house. Maybe it was a reception he did in his bedroom, because he's not in the public space. That be that as it may. I will start with Lagos State. The Lagos State government is initiating a new education curriculum and a new education paradigm, which the governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo, said was based on the success of Edo Basic Education Sector Transformation. In 2019, the Nigerian Union of Teachers nationwide declared Godwin Obaseki, it was played also on TV Continental Live, as the governor of the year for what he has done in education. In the case of the health sector, that is also in the public domain. Edo State prior to now had a litany of unpaid salaries. The biggest problem we had, a litany of unpaid salaries and pensioners dying in queues on the street. Godwin is the only person, he is the only governor that pays salaries on the 23rd of the month. Be that as it may, let's put that aside. Let's look at industrialization. Don't forget, just last week, TV Continental carried a live broadcast of the second power generating plant, because the governor realized that those sits on the largest belt of oil and gas. And in Osiomo, near Olowo, he opened another power generating plant. And today in Edo State, we have more than 35% to 40% more power than we had prior to now. Godwin has spent only 2 years and 7 months or 8 months in government. He will be 4 years in November. Not stopping there, let me look at another sector. Is he agriculture? He has turned Edo State virtually into the breadbasket of this nation. Is he about his response to COVID-19? It was acknowledged by Mr. Buhari, the president of Nigeria, that 3 weeks after the first attempt at solving COVID-19, they adopted the Edo State protocol. So what are we talking about?
Okay, Don Obaseki, let me throw this.
I just want to say this quickly, because that is the question.
Let me throw this in, because
the people fighting Godwin. Yes.
Right. Let me throw this in, because we all experience what happened in Lagos State. It's important that, yes, regardless of your ambition or your great ideas as a governor, it's always important to respect and carry along the political structures in your state. And that's one of the reasons why what happened in Lagos happened. So in Governor Obaseki's position, did he appropriately carry along the leaders within his state? Did he try to dismantle the already set political structure within the state? That seems to be the grouse many people have against him as a governor.
No, I want to disabuse your mind over that.
Okay.
Prior to now, Edo State was at the vice grip of Motor Park Towers. He came out openly from the very first month of his administration that he will not allow non-state actors, that was the word he used, to begin to collect state revenue. I'll give you a very telling example. In the year 2014, a young man, Kabaka, who didn't go to primary school, and who has been the person that was empowered by the former governor to collect revenue, just like you used to have in Lagos. Declared his second 1 billion on television. Meanwhile, he had remitted to the state government 36 million in the same period. So that was the beginning of the fight. That was the very beginning of the fight. We shouldn't, all of us who are those citizens, go online. We know that was the beginning of the fight. So when you say political, players, political class, who are political class? Edo not be Lagos. Edo is not Lagos. The political class, we are a very upwardly mobile people who are political class. We are a very upwardly mobile people who are proud of our ancestry, and we will not allow continuously the desecration of our collective political patrimony by a few brigands who are bent on taking us to the cleaners.
1 minute, please. Sorry to cut you off, sir. The Honorable mentioned that schools were shut, higher institutions were shut. I need you to quickly address it so that we know if were higher institutions shut within the states.
No, that is a lie. Let me point that clearly, please. You see, when propaganda is being given the guise of legitimacy, worrisome. In Edo State, we had a state university. The Pali, the Bender State University, later the
Okay, I think you've answered the question. So I'm sorry we ran out of time. Don Pedro, I do apologize. We actually run out of time. I'd have loved for you to explain, but you've answered the question that it's wrong. Honorable Akpatason, do you have any last words for us before we run off, please?
Well, I think we need to correct the point he was trying to make there. The truth of the matter is that almost all the School of Agriculture in Edo State have been shut by Obaseki, all of them. College of Education, as well as the university. He shut all of them. The facts are there. Edo people know this. But he said something about Obaseki's agricultural program. That is a big scam. The Sobe farm is not existing, but billions have been spent on Sobe farm. Sobe is in Owa local government. There are farms in Edo South and the rest of them that they claim exist, but they don't exist anywhere. Instead, they are fighting to destroy farms that have been established by proud citizens of Edo State with their personal income. This is what is happening.
Okay,
so
on that note,
rather than developing infrastructure, contributing to development, they are rather retarding the state by destroying what people have built.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up now, sir. I do apologize.
Let me tell you, please. We saw what happened on Thursday. The governor came with talks. He came with touts. He came with the people he comes
all right. Thanks.
Some of them from
we've discussed
State, some
Thursday.
of them imported.
Honorable, I have to go. My producers are on my ears. I have to go, unfortunately. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. We've been speaking with the State Honorable Peter Akpatason and also the PDP Stalwart Director of Communication and Strategy of the Godwin Obaseki 2020 campaign, Don Pedro Obaseki. That's all we can take. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.